Safi, back in Hong Kong. So, as you know, this is my, well, if there are any regulars here, this is my second time doing stand-up over here. And I've been a regular myself, and I've been watching other people doing comedy, and the one common factor among them is that they all talk about their personal lives, something that I didn't do first time round. So I thought, yeah, let's give this a roll and a chance to talk about my personal life. But the thing is, when I was trying to write this stand-up an hour and a half ago, I couldn't think of a proper introduction, right? So, me being a history graduate student, I thought, let me look back in history. Yeah! Let me look back in history and look at the speeches done by the greats, you know, like Bismarck and Bonaparte and Caesar. But nothing really matched. So I'm like, let me look back into recent history, you know, and there was a perfect fit. There was a perfect fit from a man we know as Franco de Bono. Yes. In his speech about his achievements at Form 2, priding himself of how much he had achieved at the tender age of 12. And I thought to myself, how can I relate to this? What did I do at the age of 12? Well, ladies and gentlemen, yours truly, at the age of 12, managed to cheat the European Union. Yes. Such a statement deserves a story, I'm sure, so here it goes. So, I used to go to St. Albert the Great College, right? And one of, yeah, yeah, St. Albert, man. And when I was 12, I was a bit of a cool kid, you know, a bit of a rebel. Like, I was, I was the best one in class, but whenever, like, you know, teachers come up to me and tell me, ooh, well done for your mark, Joseph, you were amazing, I'll be like, yeah, whatever. You know, normal day at the job. I was that kind of kid. And then there was my English teacher, who was a born-again Christian, so you can imagine, was really sweet. And she came up to me and was like, Joseph, you are so lucky. The school has just entered a competition commissioned by the European Union, and I want you to take part in it. You're going to make our school so proud. It's a poetry competition. You write your poem, we take it up for the competition, and it may be published in a book. I'm like, no. Fuck off. Obviously I didn't say that, but you know. And she said, well, tough, because I wrote your name on the list and you're going to have to do it whether you like it or not. And I'm like, well, that's hardly fair. Okay, fine. I'll write you a poem. But you won't like it. So I went ahead, went home, found a song, a very famous song from the 80s, which had a poem in it, and I copied it. Changed the last line to not make it so obvious, and I wrote it down. Gave it to her the next day. I'm like, here you go, miss, thinking that she will obviously realize. But she instead went, oh my God, this is beautiful. I'm going to give it to the headmaster right now. And I'm like, brilliant! The headmaster is going to realize that this is copied, and he's going to ridicule her. Excellent! Next day, the teacher comes up to me and is like, Joseph, the headmaster loved it, and we put it up for the competition. You should be so proud. I'm like, this is perfect, this is brilliant. The European Union is going to know that it is copied, and it's going to make fun of my entire school. Perfect. Lo and behold, this is the book. It's called Eurochild, 2002, I was in Form 2 back then. And this is my poem. I'm going to read the first stanza and the last stanza, and let's see whether you are more intelligent than the European Union. Just to remind you, song from the 80s. So, darkness falls across the land. The midnight hour is close at hand. Creatures crawl in search of blood. I'm serious, this is it, by the way. I'm not making this up. And then, in the end, I changed the line, obviously, not to make it too obvious. And though you fight to stay alive, your body starts to shiver, for no mere mortal can resist the castle near Blood River, instead of the feeling of the thriller. And it's actually here, so yeah, there you go. So, thought that would make a nice introduction. Now, I am from Al Safi. Okay, see? Now people know where Al Safi is due to the recent scandal. Yeah? Because before, at least, you know, usually I say I'm from Al Safi, people will go, oh, you're from Al Safi, is that in Zammit? Oh, that's so sweet, you know? So at least now there's some fame with Al Safi. And I know it's surprising because I feel confident enough to admit that I am the black sheep of the village. You know, from Safi you don't find many actors, singers, or kind writers, or people who speak English. You know, I mean, my friend Antonio Lachamar said it best when, you know, some English went out. He's like, oh man, shit, so bad time. Ma tax lek titkellem bl-Inglis għawi sekretarja il-Vatikan. You know, oh, by the way, fair warning, I'm going to do on Safi, so Maltese and swearing kind of goes with the package. Is there anyone here who doesn't understand Maltese? Anyone? Good. Really? Thanks for the help, but no, so yeah, I'm from Safi. Safi's a beautiful place. I mean, Safi means pure village. You know, its motto, its Latin motto is Sine Macula, which means without blemish, without a stain. You know, which is very nice. And I heard they're going to change it now to attract more people to come in, you know, to live or whatever. They're going to add to it like Sine Macula, without stain. Pure and white, just like cocaine. Yeah, Safi is a very beautiful place, and it's very peaceful. It's very quiet. It's very nice, but it doesn't mean it's boring. I mean, funny incident. Once I was on the bus stop, which is in front of my house, because, you know, technically in Safi, everything is in front of my house or around the corner. I was on the bus stop, waiting for the bus, as one does, and all of a sudden, this is really funny, our neighbors, which are a very prominent family, starting with Ch and ending with A'nu, the two brothers, one of them came out all of a sudden, and he had a shotgun in his hand. And he started shooting at the house across the street. He shot one shot at the window, at the balcony, 6 shots at the door, and an extra shot at the balcony, just, you know, for a full stop. Interesting story. What makes it even more interesting is that the house he was shooting at was the house of the police officer of Safi. Because he was sleeping with his wife or something like that. Now, obviously, this caused quite a ruckus, and my dad, obviously knowing that I was on the bus stop, came out with his rifle, you know, to see what's going on. Wait a second. Okay, don't judge, all right? Just because my dad is from the south and he has a rifle doesn't mean he's a hunter, okay? All right? We have a rifle for the imminent illegal immigrant revolt, okay? Because the thing is, they're in Halfar, right? And there's the armory of the military armory. If they take over the armory, Birsa Abuja and Safi are the first places to go. It's military strategy, not racism. Kind of. And yeah, and even our lifestyle, because that's what I didn't want to do about my personal life, because I thought my personal life in Safi was kind of boring. But then I got to tell my group of friends about what we do in Safi, and they found it pretty fucking weird. So, for example, how I learned how to swear. This is the kind of thing in Safi when you're young, you become a man at a very young age as a boy, like 5, 6, you know. First time I drank alcohol, I was 5. It was a glass of wine, I still remember the taste. But my dad used to take me to the Gazeta Leibet, which, again, it's in front of our house. And I used to go there to play billiard, you know, and steal some beer from my dad. And all of a sudden, all the men will go around me like, I was 5, by the way, and they'll tell me like, hey, and me, not knowing, I go, and my dad, hey! Round drinks, gents, I am I, Allah. Hey! Round drinks, Johnny! So, you know, that is normal in Safi, you know? And that's the thing. The thing is, I know I'm swearing a bit, but in Safi, swearing is really no big deal. It's the modern lingo. It's how we say hello, for fuck's sake. It's like, oh, you know? It's normal. It's bloody normal. And even we have our own language. We have the dialect and everything, you know? Like, for example, beep, we say beep. For shumbok, we say fe shumbok. And my favorite is yin is zopnaf, right? We put it in one word and it becomes as zopnaf. So yeah, and now I'm going to talk a bit about my family. Because in Safi, family is very important. Family comes first and foremost before everything. I mean, not like the mafia, you know? I mean, granted, we do have family names, for example, even Tal-Mashku, right? There's Tal-Chaqnu, Tal-Fenes, Tal-Khod, Tal-Shibir, Tal-Shnak, and so on and so forth. But yeah, about my family. So my mom. Okay, this one was a toughie because my mom is the kindest person alive. She's sweet, she's kind, she's gentle. I couldn't fucking write a joke about her. I'm sorry. I know, right? Then there's my sister. My sister, she's a very really? No, my sister is a very strong woman. She's 8 years older than I am. She was my role model growing up. I used to look up to her. And she defends me a lot. I mean, she wouldn't mind beating the shit out of me from... Wait, actually. My sister is the best sister in the world, and I am very thankful for her. You better say this or you're dead. No, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Johnny, if you see my sister, tell her I didn't say that last part. Okay? Okay. She has spies everywhere. Then there's my dad. Curious case, my dad. My dad, I think the best way to sum up my dad would be... He is from Zurich. He is, you know, a big build, very old school kind of man. And he has a credo. 3 things you never say a bad thing about Juventus, el Labour, or Madonna del Carno. Now he will swear with every Madonna imaginable, but don't you dare say anything about the Madonna del Carno. Det är mitt för hobbo. Min på sisfer. So yeah, and my dad again swears a lot, but that is, he doesn't mean it in a bad way. He's not in anger. I mean, he's an angry man, granted. But like, for example, a few years ago on Our Lady of Sorrows in Dolori, I decided to eat meat because I don't give a crap, you know. And my dad just said, Madonna, Dolori had to go to Perfect, sums up my dad. But my favorite family member is my grandmother. My grandmother, she is the boss. She is the head of the family. We have a very matriarchal family kind of thing. You know, she's the kind of woman, when you go to her house, you have to go there and kiss her hand, kiss the ring on her finger, while the camera shot shoots the door closing. Well, Godfather reference should have been more clear. Yeah, but my nana, she is amazingly strong. She's a very strong woman, very strong character. Emotionally and physically to some extent. Like, for example, when my grandfather died at a very young age, she didn't go to the cemetery to watch the burial because she didn't want her children to see her cry. You know, she went then later, obviously on her own, but she's very strong. And then she's as easy to slip. If someone says something bad across the street, she just goes, from all the way. But my nan is very old school. She has an old school style of thinking. For example, now this is a dodgy story, but I will explain myself. I was on the bus going to watch a movie, and on the last bus stop of Al Safi, 2 black people came on the bus. Normal thing, a lot of black people. In Al Safi, no big whoop. They sat in front, I sat in the middle. When we got into Arca Cop, a police officer stopped the bus, came on the bus and told the driver, listen, a couple of illegal immigrants ran out of the death concentration camp, and another police officer is going to come see whether these 2 are 2 of them. And we were waiting over there. I'm like, fuck, I have to watch a movie. And then the other police officer comes, and these 2 black people make a run for it. One of them is called by the police guy, and the other one's going for the fire exit. So, instinctively, I jumped into the way. He pushed me aside. I'm like, fuck it, grabbed him, threw him on the bench, knees on back, chin up. Now, I did that because he was running from the police, not because he was black. Okay? Now, but the beautiful thing is this, and this is a really good example of my family. I went out, go back home, and when I went back home, my grandma was there, because she's our neighbor, obviously. And I told him the story. My mom, being kind and sweet, said, "Jag hossar, ma wajjajtux, xu? Edi ma wajjajtx, ma intu all right, ux." My dad, my nan, with a serious face, ma naħsal inek bis-sapun min jafxek mhux It sounds good thinking, but you gotta love it. But what I love about my grandmother are her sayings, her words of wisdom. You know, cliché Sofi. Like for example, one of my favorite ones is I used to go to her house after school, and she used to always want to help me with homework, even though I knew that she didn't understand the thing I was doing. Okay, like, أي حناينك ابني أي حناينك إيه مالك حنيني هعمل وحدي شني أتعلم أعمل كلش وحده عشان كل القصب في ثلاثة باش يهو براير. I mean, even when it comes to religion, I mean, Safi, we're very religious, obviously, somehow, you know. But my aunt lives with my grandmother at home. She gets really sick often, and whenever my aunt is sick, my nan goes around the house, which is obviously full of you know, paintings and pictures of saints and statues and all that. And she literally, to see how much of a boss she is, she goes up to these pictures and turns them facing the wall like a punishment. She is punishing the saints, turning everyone against the wall. Then she goes to Saint Catherine, which is obviously of Zurich, so we hate her, obviously, and she puts her on the dustbin. And she goes, "Away! Jak ma twoja Elisha działa, and then she goes on St. Paul, "Away! Which the krech, maar I'm And my dad is very strong physically as well. Back in the day when I was in primary school, it was still okay for teachers to beat students. It was a normal thing, unfortunately. And we had this year 4 teachers, that's how don't make he got in there. And I used to talk a lot, and he came up to me, and he's like, "Enter your Bud Spencer." I said, "Not Bud Spencer," when I was a kid, so obviously I went, "What's that?" And he literally went like this. On the top of my head. He fucked up my back, you know. And as soon as I could get the feeling back, I ran away from school. I ran away from school, turned around the corner, arrived home. And I told my mom what's happening, and my mom literally rushed to the school, went up to the headmaster, and people telling him like, you know, this is not possible, this cannot go on, if it happens again, I'll tell the police. In the meantime, my grandmother went home and got the rolling pin. She barged into the school hall. Fejno dak il-korno! Immislitti fer iż-żajf għax jissor Irlando! I think I'm running late, so I'm going to leave you with these final words. Back on the words of wisdom for my nan. And this, she told me, and I would like to, you know, spread it across to you. When I was a kid, I was really fat. I was really fat. So obviously, I know. And obviously, they used to think, you know, I used to go home and because my nana thinks, she has the mentality of, if you're not fat, then you're not healthy. So she made a really good job of that. But obviously, I used to go home and cry, you know, they're teasing me, the kids are teasing me, blah, blah, blah. And my nana used to tell me this. Ibni, alla badik sur mukbir o sabajh, o zuħ biex tisman nisfajh, u that's it.